The Senate impeachment trial starts tomorrow. We have heard from impeachment managers and many people directly impacted by the violence at the Capitol on January 6th. You can't fully understand any trial without hearing from both sides. And now we turn to a Trump advisor who is standing by the former president. Attorney Boris Epshteyn is a veteran of the Trump campaigns and Trump White House. Boris, we had you on last month. We talked procedure and precedent. Tonight, we're focusing on the merits of the case and the facts. I'm going to hold you to that. So let's get right into the evidence against former President Trump, which includes delaying the National Guard on that fateful day, praising the rioters at the Capitol during the insurrection as special, even after their crimes were public and on tape. What is the response to that? And was Donald Trump wrong to embrace many of those now indicted individuals as very special?
Ari, good to be with you. And I actually want to point out that Professor Katyal was my professor in law school at Georgetown. We disagree on almost everything politically, but still good to follow him on your program. In terms of what you laid out there, in terms of the National Guard, you have to go and look at the facts in terms of what the acting Secretary of Defense has said, what people from the Hill have said, and that any delay there had nothing to do with President Trump whatsoever. In terms of his words that you laid out there, President Trump specifically said, "Go home in peace," in the Twitter video, which I believe you're referencing, the video that was put out on Twitter and other channels, then taken down by Twitter. Unfortunately, he specifically said, "Go home in peace." And then if you look at the speech on January 6th, the president, again, we talked about this last time I was on your program, said, "March to the Capitol peacefully and patriotically," and that's a direct quote.
Let's get into that, but I didn't get a full answer on very special. Was he right or wrong to call those indicted rioters very special?
President Trump at that time and now has the full authority as an American, as the president, to decide how he refers to people. He specifically condemned violence, specifically said to go home in peace. So he in no way...
I heard that part. I heard that part, but let's just be real. Let you know we keep it real here, Boris. It was seen as an embrace. So we saw that all play out on camera, and then he embraced them by saying they're very special. And before we move on to the other part, I just wanted to get you on the record. Do you and he think that that holds up, that they were very special, that they should be embraced that way?
I condemn any violence on that day. I condemn any violence now, and President Trump has done the same.
All right. Now, moving forward, you mentioned the remarks. One of the biggest problems for Donald Trump at the trial starting tomorrow and the people like yourself making these arguments is that he has a long public history of advocating and fomenting violence. You mentioned that in the speech on January 6th, he mentioned also doing so peacefully. So let's take a look, and then you'll get a chance to respond. But for the evidence, some of what he said in the past, what he said on January 6th, including the peaceful reference, and what else he said that seemed like such an embrace of ongoing criminal conduct. Take a look.
Knock the crap out of him, would you? Seriously. I will pay for the legal fees, I promise.
Peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
Let's have trial by combat.
Get him out of here. Throw him out. I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you. We love you. You're very special.
What is the response of the defense to the fact that so many people, having heard Donald Trump talk that way for so long, went and acted on it?
Well, I think that montage was misleading, and I'll tell you why. First of all, a lot of the words you are using there out of President Trump are from 5, even 6 years ago, which suggests that there has not been any recent conduct that you could point to, which is even in the arena that you're referencing. Now, this article of impeachment is very specific.
I'm going to briefly respond, and then I'm going to let you finish. I'm going to briefly respond and then let you finish. Boris, when we show video of just Donald Trump talking, and you respond by saying it's misleading, it almost sounds like you're impugning your own client or representative. Everything we showed is what he publicly said. Some of it, as I mentioned, was previous because people heard him talk up violence for so long, and some of it was on January 6th. Go ahead.
I'm not impugning President Trump. He's not my client. I'm a supporter of the president, have been a supporter of his. I've worked for him. He's not my client. I'm an attorney, so it's important to point that out. What I'm saying is you're going back to 2015, 2016, which has absolutely nothing to do with the current article of impeachment, one, and two, these comments were done and said largely in jest. And as you actually pointed out in the previous program I was on, the Democrats have a big problem on this because you've had Democrats talk about violence, including the new majority leader, Chuck Schumer, including Maxine Waters, including Nancy Pelosi. So if you're to judge,
well, you're here. That won't.
When they say you have
whether
to fight,
whether you're as an attorney, though, I'm going to jump in and then let you finish. I just have to do the rules of the road. As an attorney, you know that if you get up in court and say, "Well, this person may have done it, but somebody else also did something else," that gets you nowhere. So Chuck Schumer's not on trial tomorrow. Tomorrow.
This is both a legal and a political process, right? So what I'm pointing to is that if the politicians who are sitting as the jury in the Senate are looking at this, they have to look at themselves and say, well, have I ever used language, including have to go out there and fight? And most of them will have to say yes. So the point here is this. President Trump in no way incited violence on January 6th. That is the question here in this sham of an impeachment trial, which I continue to believe is unconstitutional. And it seems that even the Democrats believe they don't have much to go on here, which is why there likely will not be witnesses, and the whole thing will be over in about a week.
I think the question about witnesses is fair. Indeed, you may have seen we raised that on the program earlier tonight. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.